Hey, everybody. It is Peter and Sal here from Strong Healthy Women. Welcome to Talking Wellbeing TV, where we share hints, tips, and advice about the foundations of well-being, which are move, eat, live. How are you today, Sal?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, no, really good, thank you. So, what we want to talk about today is Grumpy Peter versus Happy Peter. So, and why do we want to talk about that? Well, one of the things that I'm working on right now, which is a little project, there is a book coming out called Overcoming Life's Obstacles, and I'm one of the contributing authors to that book. And I'm writing about a personal experience that happened in my life, and how I overcame that. During the course of my life, and it was quite a significant experience. It was a sexual attack at the age of 13. But what led me to this Grumpy Peter, Happy Peter scenario was that over the years, because of this, I found a lot of peace and calmness in movement, whether that was physical exercise, riding a bike, walking, didn't matter what it was. It just gave me time to connect with myself and to feel just better in itself. And what happened is I developed this skill over the years to take care of myself. And I know it's a skill that us girls have a little bit of difficulty saying no to other people, and putting others first. Have you ever had that experience, Sal?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
all the
So we'll
time.
come back to
Yeah,
that in a sec. So yeah,
yes.
what ended up happening as a result of this is because I had found this way to actually put myself first. When I was married to my first husband, I used to come home. I had this little routine: come home, hello to the family, and I would put my shoes on, and off I would go for a walk. And this one afternoon, he said to me, "Why do you do that? Why don't you just stay home and cook dinner?" And I said, "Oh, we'll talk about that when I get home." And so I left it there, and off I went, and thought about the situation and how we would have a chat about that. So, anyway, long story short, so what happened was when we sat down for our evening meal, I said, "Okay, so let's talk about why don't I cook dinner first?" I said, "Look, there's a couple of things here. You're home 2 to 3 hours before me. So if you want to learn how to cook, I'm more than happy to show you how to do that." And he was quite open to that, and he did learn how to cook. And he actually was very good at it, and actually ended up having cooking lessons externally as well, which is great. The other thing is that, my sons saw that it was okay for men to be in the kitchen. Um, and in fact, they both became chefs. What also happened was that my sons got to see and hear a message that says it's okay to put yourself first, whether you're male or female. That what's important is that everybody is taking care of themselves first and foremost. Um, but what actually happened is, in my explanation of why I do this, is that I was working in a really, really stressful job. And what would happen, and I know this would have happened, and you may be able to relate to this, is that if you have a stressful job or any type of job that you might not like even, you'll come home and what will you do? You'll whinge and whine about it to your partner, and they'll just end up, turning a deaf ear and not listening to you anyway. Um, and so I used that mechanism, that tool of being out and about and pounding the pavement, as a way to care for myself, but also to care for the family at the same time. Because what it did was, all of the stresses from that day, I just dumped out there on the pavement. and I left them out there. So when I came in, I said, what happens here is you are actually getting happy Peter and not grumpy Peter, because all that you would have got is, if I don't go out and do this, you're going to get me whinging and whining. And I know that you don't want to do that. And I certainly don't want to do that and inflict that whinging on the rest of the family. And so, you know, the boys, Terry, they were all really great about it. And from that point on, you know, it was just expected that that routine was never questioned ever again, because it was just that thing that worked for me. So, and I'm sure that there are ladies out there who can relate to that. So, Sal, I know that you've had experiences as well where you've struggled to put yourself first. Is there any one in particular that you want to talk about?
Not anyone in particular. I think one of two ways that we can go, and I'm probably more the other way, is where I'll hold it in and hold it in and hold it in because everyone's pulling, pulling, and then I explode.
Right.
And you know, then all of a sudden Mama Bear's crazy. What's wrong with this woman?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But that's the type of person I am. You know, I will hold it in and hold it in and hold it in until then I lose it, because everyone wants a piece of me, and I just keep putting everyone first and not getting that opportunity to put me first. And in that, you know, when people are taking things or are wanting things from you, my perspective on it is that they're putting themselves first by coming to
they are totally,
if that makes sense to everybody out there, you know. So that
it does.
So they're just taking and taking, and they're first and they're first and they're first and they're first, and then you're still at the back of the line, and then I can then explode, and I'm just crazy Mama Bear.
Yeah, look, you made an interesting statement there, Sal, that I latched onto, and that was that's the person that I am. The reality is that it doesn't have to be that's the person that you are. That's the story that you've been telling yourself, that I'm the person who keeps it inside. I'm the person who, you know, just keeps doing everything for everybody else until what happens is I'm just going to explode. So, you know, there are things that you can do in order to change that story. And firstly, it is just a matter of rephrasing that story in your own self that says, you know, I'm the person who puts myself first, as opposed to I'm the person who bottles up everything inside. I'm the person who shares with other people, you know, shares with those that are closest to me, you know, my trials and my tribulations and the issues that I'm having with my life. You know, I've had that person in my life that I can reach out to, that I can talk to, and that they're going to be that, you know, that shoulder that I can lean on in that time. You know, they may not give you the answers to it, but they'll certainly listen to you, and sometimes that's what all it takes, is to be able to express it and get it out of your head, which is exactly what used to happen. I'm sure people thought I was crazy when I was out, you know, running along the pavement after I got home from work, and I'm probably muttering to myself as I'm going. Who knows what I actually look like? I have no idea, but I didn't bottle it up. I allowed it to come out, but I didn't take it out on the other people. I just took it out on the road, on the bitumen.
Yes. And that's absolutely what, you know, I've learned over the past probably 12 months to start saying no. No, you know, and last night, perfect example. What's for dinner? If there's dinner in the fridge, I've bought stuff you can cook. Are you hungry? I was hungry an hour ago. Then help yourself and cook your dinner.
You might actually take that. Yeah, you might even be able to take that one step further. You might even say that, okay, so I'm in the virtual studio on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So what's going to happen here is, Quinn, you're on Monday evening dinners. Olivia, you're on Wednesday evening dinners, and Georgia, you're going to be on Friday evening dinners, or whatever it happens to be, and I'll be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Saturdays as an example, so you get out of it pretty good. You're all adults, or one's just not quite an adult. Yes. You're all adults. You're getting out of it pretty good. You're only cooking one meal a week, so I think a roster is in order there.
Yes. Get those children cooking.
Yeah, totally. Why not? So okay, so over the past 12 months, you've learned to say no. How'd you learn to say no? What can you share on that? What'd you do? Did you just go, no, I'm just going to start saying no?
Yes, it was that you're just getting pulled in 1,000 directions, and you're just getting tired and drained, and and you've just had enough.
Yeah.
You've just had enough. I think sometimes it gets to that point where, enough's enough. Love my family to bits, love my children to bits, but, it's time to say no.
Well, it is time for all of us women to say no and to actually take care of ourselves first. That's totally true, because what happens is, if we're not taking care of ourselves and our families don't see that, our children don't see that, then what happens is they're going to take that into their life. And then they're going to take that into their children's life, and it just keeps getting handed down, which is exactly what happened, over the years. My grandmother would have handed that down to my mother, which would have handed it down to me. But what occurred was, because of this attack in my life, that was a big, major shift for me, because I felt alone and isolated, and I knew that I needed to make my own way somehow. And so I've just had this intuition, or this natural way of doing it, that was just kept on evolving as it went along. And so if I was to be asked to do something and it didn't quite fit, I would just say, look, I'd love to be able to do that, but I just can't fit that in right now. So, and it's simple words like that, because I think sometimes what happens is, when we want to say no, we don't know how to, and that word no is quite harsh. We feel it's harsh. And so if we can, turn it around that little bit and say more along the lines of, well, I would love to be able to, this is what's happening right now, which means I won't be able to. So,
yeah.
And you don't have to really offer up any more reasons or excuses other than that. You don't really need to go into any more detail. It just doesn't work for me. So and I think the other thing that happens is that we worry about what other people will say if we say no.
What will they think of us, because we've always been saying yes?
Yeah, okay.
We don't want to disappoint them, but we love them.
Yeah.
But they love us. And this isn't just This isn't just, family. This can be friends, and this can be,
Totally.
People out there that you want to say no, but you struggle to say no to them, and it's and it comes down to, am I going to hurt their feelings by saying no? I better say yes because I don't want to upset anybody.
Yeah. I think also, Sal, that it comes down to this routine, these habits that we've created as well too. Because if you think about it, when someone says, "How are you?" what's your response?
Good, thank you.
Good, thank you. Yeah, it's just on autopilot. Yeah, I know. It's just an autopilot thing, isn't it? So you get asked how you are, you say, "Oh, I'm good, thank you," even though deep down inside you could be hurting like crazy. You could be wanting to just break down and cry. Not you personally, but anybody.
No.
You could be just wanting to break down and cry. But we just have this autopilot of going, "Yeah, no, I'm good.
Thank you. Yes. Even when you're absolutely broken.
Yeah, it's right. And, for the person who's asking the question, that's an autopilot thing too. Hello, how are you today? We never just stop at saying hi.
Yes. Yes.
So here's the thing, is that if you don't want to hear from the person and how they're feeling, then you probably shouldn't ask that question.
Yes.
Because one day you may very well get, "Oh no, I'm not feeling very well at all," and you might get the whole entire story, and then you're going, "Why did I ask that question? Why did I ask that question?"
Yes.
So yeah, the response when we get asked to do something, whether that's from our family, whether it's from our community, whether it's from, our friends, and there's circles even wider than that, when you get asked the question, use the Mel Robbins treatment. Her 5-second rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That gives you enough time to actually think about it. So try not to do the autopilot. Okay, then, what do you need me to do? Just take those 5 seconds. That gives you enough time to actually think about it and go, no, I'm not going to do that because it just doesn't work for me.
As I said, I explode, but I think other emotions that can come up can be resentment. As we get older as well, and if we continue to keep doing what everyone's asking, we hold that in. There's that resentment coming up, anger, not liking that person.
Yeah. We've been spending a little bit of time with some of our grandkids on a Sunday, and last Sunday he said, "Okay, we'll go down and see so and so and so and so," and I just went, "Yeah, okay, you can go, but I'm not going." And he said, "Oh, but I want you to come," and I've gone, "No, I'm not coming because I'm doing a course and, I want to, do my study guide. I want to be prepared for the next exam that's coming up. So, no, I'm not going to go." And so he sat there for a bit thinking that I was going to change my mind. And then after about 15 minutes, he said, "Oh, well, I'm not going either." Because if the truth of the matter is, been owns, I'm the one who actually ends up playing with the kids. He just usually sits and watches. So, he wasn't going to go alone because it would mean he would have to do it. So again, he put himself first there in trying to get me to do it. So I want you, when you get asked a question from somebody else, so I won't be said. And so from somebody else, I want you to think about that too. They're putting themselves first. So I have the right to put myself first too.
Yes. And, that same scenario, if you had said no and you did go down, then there's that resentment that resentment could
Oh,
come through, because you don't really want to be there. Why have you dragged me here? I've got things I need to do as well. I should have said no.
yeah.
I said yes. So you can see where that resentment may come into it as well.
Mm, yes. Yeah, totally. And I think that if we can, like in the instance of what happened to me back in those younger years, um, the only way that I felt like I had some level of control in my life, and it was really, really important for me to have that control after being attacked like that, was to actually just put myself first. So even though sometimes we will have these traumas in our life, if we can look at them and take some lessons away from it, it means that we can grow from it and we can truly experience, our life the way we want to experience it, and how we can also be honestly and truthfully who we are. So being true to ourselves is so, so important, because so many times what we do is we um, we try to be something for everybody else, and that's all part of this saying yes to everybody as opposed to saying no as well too, because you might very well, because you've been that person who's always said yes to everything, that's the reputation you've now got. So therefore, when you go to say no, it's very daunting on the other people. It's like, well, hang on, what's wrong with you? Why are you
Mm-hmm.
saying no all of a sudden? Mm,
Yes.
yeah.
Don't you like me? And it comes to respect as well. They're gonna, if you say no, they need to respect the fact that you're saying no, and you should have enough respect for yourself that you say no.
Yeah, good point. Very good point. Yeah, yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What lessons do you think are in there, Sel?
How do you want to feel? How do you feel now, and how do you want to feel?
Mm, yeah,
Think
yeah.
about, maybe the past week, measure it over the past week, and how have you felt? If people coming to you and asking for things and wanting things and needing you to do things, how have you felt? How do you want to feel? I love
Yeah,
saying no.
look, there's another side to that as well too. When I was just thinking about it, I'm just conscious of our time as well too, so I'll try and do it really quickly. When we might very well see ourselves as the person who always says yes, we're the helper, we're the person who helps everybody. So we see ourselves that way. And if we were to say no, then our identity is lost too. And so that in itself can cause a bit of a problem. But one of my daughter-in-laws just recently said to me, I really need to think about this. We were talking about the book, and she said, you're really, really inspiring, and I know that I need to make some changes. And she said, I haven't had time. And I said, but the reality is you do have time. I said, because of COVID, work has changed for you so much. You've now found you've got 5 extra days that you're actually not at work. And I said, and add a guess, I would say, you're washing, you're cooking, you're cleaning, catching up with people and whatever else. And you're not giving yourself that time to sit, but you have the time. And she went, oh, you're right, I do. so, so I think sometimes what happens is we can fill the time as well too. So we say
And we,
yes to be able to fill our time without taking, because we don't want to take the time to address whatever it is that's going on in our life.
and the
Sorry, Sal, go ahead.
not so much the flip side, but thinking of it from a different angle. If it's something that she, has been thinking about doing for so long,
Yeah.
No, she doesn't have the time. So the time's now to do it.
Yeah.
And not keep putting it off.
I look forward to watching this space and see what happens. Yeah. All right. So, ladies, there are quite a number of things that we can take away today. So, yeah, definitely go back and have a listen and have a re-listen, because I think you'll just find that there's different snippets here and there. But, you know, the biggest thing is, before you say yes to somebody, use that 5-second rule, take that deep breath and count down. Don't go on autopilot. And just respond to it how you would normally respond to it. Think about it and actually think about, is it what you want to do, or is it not lending itself to how you see that day panning out for you? The second part of it is, take the time to think about the stories that you tell yourself as well too, and how you see yourself, so that, you know, if you're telling yourself that story that you're the helper, that you're the one who always is there for everybody else, then, you know, rephrase that a little bit in your own mind and say, you know, I help people, but I help myself first. So, and that's who I am. So just flipping it that little bit, so that you can start to, you know, get a little bit of you back, which is really important.
Yes.
Thanks for joining me today, Sel.
Thanks for having me, as always, Peter. Happy weekend, everybody.
Yes, we are going into the weekend. So this is Grumpy Peter. This is Happy Peter. And I've always found that, as I said, movement is the thing that helps me. And that's why I do it every single day of the week. So anyway, over and out. Thanks for joining us, Sel.
Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, Peter.
I will, and we will see you with the weekly wrap up on Sunday, everybody. Take care. See you all soon. See you, Sel.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.